But it's my pleasure to bring back to the program again. He was with us a few years ago, and very glad he's here. He has really expanded his business, and not only that, his presence in the industry. That's Mr. Jorge Pena, the president of the Latin American Association of Insurance Agencies, a.k.a. LAAIA, and, of course, the managing director of his own organization, ASI. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much, Pete. Great to be back with you.
George, before we get into our conversation, and it's going to be, I think, a very important one because we're going to talk about something that affects all of us is insurance. And whether you own a home, we all typically own cars, and there's other aspects that we pay for insurance and for obvious reasons. Let's get into a little bit about yourself and your organization.
All right, Pete. Well, thank you for that, and thank you again for having me back, and congratulations for your radio show. I think it's awesome, and it's a great service that you provide to the South Florida. I think everyone should be listening to you every morning here at 880 a.m., and it's really a pleasure to be back. So, yeah, the LAIA has been around since 1969. It was originally formed by a handful of agents who migrated to South Florida when Fidel Castro and his militia invaded Cuba, and they arrived here hoping to continue their business in insurance, and found that it was pretty difficult to do business here because of a lot of challenges, of course, the language barrier, and also they were having a hard time just getting the insurance companies to give them the contracts and the ability to write insurance. So they decided to get together, and that together they may be stronger and have a better opportunity to grow their businesses. So back in 1969, they did that, and today the association has grown to over several hundred insurance agents, customer service representatives that work in the offices, and insurance company representatives that are also involved with our association. The association has right now manages over $1 billion of insurance premium and over 250,000 insurance policies through the organization.
How did you get involved?
Well, I just got introduced to the group. I was told to attend one of the events, which I did. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, made some great friends, and here I am 10 years later, as the president of the group. Now,
we'll get a little bit more into that and membership and some of the programs you're doing, especially from an educational perspective. Now, your company, ASI, has been around how many years now?
We're together over a decade now, and we specialize in property and casualty insurance, mainly homeowner, auto, and business insurance.
And obviously, getting involved with an organization is critical in any industry because you're connected to what's going on there, and you need to know what's happening because that's how you can provide value to your customers at the end of the day.
Absolutely. The South Florida insurance market is like no other. We've got challenges that no one else experiences, not just from hurricane exposure, but several other issues that we have to face down here. And as a result, we pay a lot more than the average for insurance premiums. So it's a lot of work to try to fight that problem, but I think we're making some progress.
Now, the LAIA, and I've had the pleasure of working with you and your colleagues for the last handful of years and have attended some of your key events, and you had to do an incredible annual convention that I've been a part of and have a lot of friends that are involved in the organization. If I'm in the insurance business and I haven't connected with the organization yet, why should I join, and how is that going to benefit me and my business?
Well, that's a great question, and like I just got done mentioning, the South Florida market is really different than any other. And so the LAIA is the largest organization through our convention and everything else that we do down here from an education standpoint, and we are able to help our members really deal with the problems that are really exclusive to our area. And I'd say that's really the biggest reason, and just obviously the network of members who are always there willing to help, and the connections that we have with all of the insurance companies who are also there willing to help us.
I think what's really nice about the organization, it's an industry-specific organization, and one would think, well, if you've never been involved in networking, for instance, why do I want to be in an association where I'm talking to other competitors, for instance? Let me get involved in this other chamber that I can, I have prospects and I have people, which is, the thing I think we should all be doing. But I think the beauty of an industry-specific organization is, number one, you're connected with what's going on in the industry, all the issues, all the opportunities, all the latest programs that are available out there. And a lot of them allow you to get your credits, your credits updated as well, depending on what you're doing. And not only that, but you share best practice ideas as well.
Absolutely. Insurance is a very highly regulated industry, and it's very important to stay informed on all the changes that are taking place, and that's another really big reason to be involved. And, yeah, I think there's some people out there that may look at it as a case where you're negotiating or you're having relationships with competitors. But reality, the CFO of the state who was down to talk to us about a year ago at our convention, CFO Atwater, made a comment which I thought was really unique about our association, and that is that really everyone there really does and is always willing to help each other. And
absolutely. You need to. To have that camaraderie, because it's when you put down when you let your guard down and you forget about the competitive and is this person going to steal my clients and all that garbage that we hear so much out there. It is a smart move to get involved with your industry, because the other thing about it is to give back. Everyone has an opportunity to contribute and give back to their industry, because the more you can do that, the better it is for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. Not only is it important and imperative, but it's necessary, especially in this business. There's too many things that can happen that go wrong in your business, and it's necessary to really understand all the changes and all the regulations, and especially in our industry. And giving back, by the way, is one of the big things that our association does, and we're very proud of. In fact, that was one of the reasons that I came to visit you originally a couple of years ago.
Yes.
We've been very involved with the Holtz Children's Hospital at Jackson, and very proud of that. I should say University of Miami Hospital now, right? But that's something that we do every year, and it's something that we're very proud of.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it in my talk with Manny Medina, social responsibility and giving back. We're also fortunate in our growing our business and being able to do the things we're doing, that it's imperative that we give back and understand that if we can reach out and you don't have to. It's not about giving a lot of money. It's just sometimes it's just giving your time and your heart to whatever that cause may be. So that I think good part of good business is giving back and having that social responsibility. Let's get into the nitty gritty now of what's going on in the insurance industries, and we talked about that before we started the show this morning. The fact that the big question is, why are insurance premiums so high after 10 years without a hurricane? The last one was Hurricane Wilma. We know all about that almost exactly 10 years ago. Why do you think that's going on?
Well, Pete, that's a great question. It's one that I hear probably at least once a week, and there's a lot of good answers probably to that question, but there's really a couple that are more important, I guess, really to why that's happening, and so I'll mention a couple of the main ones that come up, and one of which is just even though we haven't had hurricanes now in several years, there's obviously other things that cause claims, insurance claims. And so one of the trends that has taken place here in the past few years has been a huge increase in claims caused by water damage. And, the homes here can be a little older, so, you are going to have an occasional issue where a pipe may break. But what's happened with those claims and what's happening as a trend here in South Florida is the fact that so many of those claims are being reported not directly to the insurance companies, but they're being reported through other entities on behalf of the insured. And that's a trend that really is causing a big part of the reason why we have such high insurance rates down here. And you see all the advertising, you see the TV commercials, the billboards, and there's a lot of people out there who make a living on insurance claims. And so part of the problem that we have down here is not the fact that we have so many of these claims, but it's just the fact that there's always another party involved. In fact, Citizens Property Insurance Company, which is the state-run insurer of last resort, just recently filed for a new increase in rates, and water damage claims were the main factor that they mentioned being the reason for the increase. But they also mentioned another statistic which I thought was kind of surprising, and that is that out of all the claims that they have reported there that come in by a third party, be it a public adjusting firm, an attorney's office, or a water restoration company, 9 out of 10 of those claims come from Dade County.
A solution? Is there a way to control this?
Well, I think there's a lot of things in reality, Pete, that people can do. One of them is a pretty simple thing, and it's got to do with another issue that's going on pretty rampantly now here in Florida, and that's got to do with contract issue that's called assignment of benefits. And basically, it's some wording that has been thrown into a lot of contractors' contracts that allows them to take over all of the rights of a claim. And so one of the first things that people should do is, even in the case that they're dealing with an emergency, is stop and read a contract and look for the clause for assignment of benefits, or AOB, and be very careful before they go signing that contract. And no matter how urgent the matter is, that's one thing that they can definitely do.
You and I spoke before the show about the fact that we're living in a society. It's not just South Florida; it's the country where we're reacting so much more as opposed to being proactive. And we, life goes on, and we don't, we just take care of what we got to do, and then finally we're hit with a crisis, and we hit the panic button, and a lot of times we don't make the right decisions when they're under pressure like that. And this is a perfect example. People rush into things, they sign documents. Oh, I feel better. I got this covered, and this is great. But then the aftermath, if something happens, that's where you run into trouble.
And that's another great point. And another thing that people can do, I think, to be prevent the accidents before they happen. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a car. You don't wait until your tire blows out before you change it. Mm-hmm. When you see the tires getting low, you're going to go to the store and you're going to replace the tire. Mm-hmm. And it's no.
But you got to be checking those tires too.
You got to be checking them, exactly. So it's no different with a home.
Yes.
There are things that you can do to prevent incidents. There's things that you can do to maintain a roof, to maintain plumbing, and people just need to be a little more proactive and look for opportunities to do that, and not wait until it's actually broken and it's too late.
Absolutely. We have just about a minute or so left here, George. Any parting words that, besides, I know you've got exciting events coming up with the association, any parting words that you want to leave the listeners with?
Well, mainly I'd just say, look for, when you're out there and you're looking to buy insurance, look for an agent that has an involvement with an association. Obviously, the LAIA is a very good one. And I would just say, look and ask them, are you involved with an association? Are you a member of the LAIA? Because you'll know that when you're dealing with that agency, they're educated, they're informed, they're knowledgeable, and they're ethical. They're aware of these sorts of issues, and they know how to help you deal with them.
And that's a phenomenal point, because you're also sending a message to your prospective client that you can bring value to them. You can bring value in your expertise, and that you're always connected. Imagine a doctor going to a doctor, and you go to the office, and all he has is hanging on the wall is just the last degree or whatever it is that he gets to become a doctor. 20 years later, there's nothing else there. They haven't been connected to all the new things that are going on in the medical field. Do you really want to be a patient of that doctor? So it's the same thing. If you want to be a client of an insurance professional, you want to make sure that not only that they're reputable, but they're up to date on what's going on, because that's where they bring the real value. And I think that this organization, the LAIA, does exactly that, and I applaud you and all your colleagues on the board and so many friends. And a big shout-out to our good friend Tony Martley, who I've known for years, and he and yourself and so many of that I've met along the way are doing a phenomenal job in embracing the members, but making sure that everyone is also carrying their weight and doing the right things for the industry. George, any upcoming event that the audience should know about?
Well, we have monthly events where we bring in speakers and we do different things. And this coming, the first Wednesday of every month, typically we have that event. So this coming month, we're going to be having that event again here at the restaurant down the street at Casa Juancho.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be doing that at the beginning of October. We have continuous education classes that are going on. We have a very good one coming up in October that's going to talk about contract issues and languaging that people, our members should understand better. So there's constantly things going on. Yeah,
terrific. Do you have a number at the top of your head that we can share, or we'll just tell them to contact the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. The website is probably the easiest way to reach us. So that's laia.com, or the phone number, I believe, is 305-447-1442. 477-1442.